Thank you, sir. Now we move on to the next topic, Stebis Music, a very nice name given by sir, musical IC. So I'll be discussing case-wise. In first case, look at this patient. What you have? You have a hypertropia in the primary gaze in the left eye. In secondary gazes, what you can see, the hypertropia is increasing in up gaze, and which is decreasing in down gaze. Also, the hypertropia is increasing in abduction or lever version and decreasing slightly in dextroversion, but still it is present in dextroversion. The findings remain same in more or less same in the tertiary cases. So, how do you diagnose? The deviation was present since birth. So, what is the primary diagnosis in this case? So, the diagnosis made was the left eye congenital double elevator palsy. So, in such cases, how do you manage the cases? So, the ideal protocol what we follow is that we do. Since the case is a long-standing hypertrophy of the left eye, we go with the FDT for the left eye. FDT in this case was free, so we went ahead with the transposition procedure for the left eye, which was the left eye NAPS procedure with Foster's augmentation at 8 mm, because the hypertropia in this case was 35 prism basin. So the post-operatively, you can see the hypertropia is very nicely corrected, and in secondary cases, as compared to the tertiary cases, which I will show the pre or post-operative comparison, the hypertropia is also corrected. This is the pre or post-op comparison of the case where you can see the hypertropia is corrected in the primary cases, and also as compared to the pre and post, it has been reduced. So moving on to the next case, this is a 25-year female. He has a deviation of right eye since 3 years only, and the best corrected visual acuity in the right eye was 6/18 parts. In the left eye, it was 6/6. She has a history of trauma to the trauma 3 years back. This was the pre-operative. You can see there is a right eye hypertropia. The hypertropia is increasing in dextroversion, lever version again, and in up gaze it is again increasing in the up gaze. In down gaze you can see there is a hypertropia which is increasing in down gaze also. Hypertropia, sorry. So in this case, what was the diagnosis again? Was it the right hypertropia, anything else, or what was the diagnosis? The diagnosis we made was it was a left eye acquired post-traumatic double elevator palsy. Now, why this is a patient of left eye double elevator palsy and manifested with hypertropia of the right eye? The reason was that the patient was having a 6/18 vision in the right eye, and she was fixing with the paralytic eye. So the manifest deviation in the right eye was because of the fixation with the paralytic eye. So in this case, we managed to do the surgery of the right eye by handling the right eye. We have to do this since there is a manifest hypertropia for a long time in the right eye. We did FDT for the right eye superior rectus, which was tied. So went ahead with the superior rectus recession of the 5 mm along with the total anterior positioning. So weakened both the inferior obliques in both the elevators in this case. This is the post-operative correction in primary gaze and secondary gazes. And these are the pre-operative and post-operative comparisons. In this case, you can see that the hypertropia is corrected, and also the elevation. Basically, we have transmitted the incompetent squint into the more or less competent squint. And moving on to the third case, you can see this is a 50-year-old male which has undergone a trauma with a steel wire and which is followed by a diplopia. He underwent a lead laceration repair of the left eye, and his visual acuity was 6/6 in both the eyes. In primary gaze, you can see there is left eye hypertropia along with the lid retraction in the left eye. In secondary gazes, the hypertropia was increasing in the abduction and also in depression. Here. So this is a workup which we have done. I apologize for the handwriting, but you can see all the findings are very nicely mentioned. The primary deviation is about 14 in this case. We have done the Parkes 3-step test, which was suggestive of the left inferior rectus palsy. We have done the vertical saccades, which were near or less normal, and we have done the AFGT. And diplopia charting also showed that the hypertropia patient was single vision in the up gazes, and it progressively increased in hypertropia in this case, and maximum is levo depression. So we went ahead with the diagnosis of left eye post-traumatic inferior divisional palsy. So we planned for the FDT for the left eye superior rectus, and if the superior rectus is tight, we have to do the superior rectus recession along with the, if it is not tight, then we plan to explore the inferior rectus. In this case, we find that the inferior rectus, we were able to find the inferior rectus, so we advance it to the 5 mm from the limbus. So these are the post-operative photographs. The point to note is that when we corrected the left eye inferior rectus, the lid retraction has also been corrected. Yeah. These are the pre and post-operative comparisons of these cases. Now moving on to next case, it is a 9-year-old male of Rajasthan. He has complained of diplopia and deviation since 2 years. He again has a history of trauma fall from height, no other any significant history. So what you have in primary gaze? In primary gaze, we have an exo and hypertropia. In secondary gaze, what you can see in abduction, there is an exo and hypertropia, but in adduction, the ptosis has been improved, which is further markedly improved in the adduction and depression. You can see that it has gone above overcorrected, or there is a lid retraction in infraduction. So what is the diagnosis in this case again? So we made a diagnosis of right eye acquired partial third nerve palsy along with the aberrant degeneration. So how do you manage such cases? Whether we do the surgery of the right eye and we correct the ptosis afterwards, or we do the crutch glasses for the ptosis surgery. We generally what follow? We do the FDT for the right eye. If it is tight, then we have to resist the FDT. We have to resist the inferior rectus recession. Along with that, we do a lateral rectus recession of 15 mm of the other eye, which is the normal eye. The reason behind that, what we have seen, in adduction, there is improvement in ptosis. So we do a fixation duris surgery of the contralateral eye or normal eye, so as it takes the advantage of the misinnervation. Since in this case the FDT was free, we went ahead with the complete surgery of the left eye, which was normal. So we recessed the left eye along with the Farden posterior fixation at 14 mm and the left eye lateral rectus recession. Now adding a Farden to the left superior rectus was the ideology was to convert the incompetent squint into the competent squint. These are the post-operative comparison photographs. This is 1 month photograph post-op. And this is the pre and post-op comparison. Where you can see the lid retraction has also been corrected and the ptosis has been corrected along with the exo and hyperdeviation.
So this is highlighting using the other eye for taking care of the aberrant regeneration, and actually you are having a better option because then the aberrant regeneration corrects the lid.
And so move on to next case. This is a right eye exotropia with hypertropia again, but it's a complete third nerve palsy. It's a similar case, so I'll just finish it up very fast. You can see the ptosis is again improving in adduction and further improving in dextrodepression. So what we planned, actually it was a stage surgery in this case. We planned again the FDT for the left eye, for the right eye, for the superior rectus and lateral rectus. In first stage, we recessed the lateral rectus by 18 mm. Again a fixation due to surgery along with the medial rectus resection. And also we correct the hypertropia of the right eye by recessing the normal eye by 5.5. In stage 2, we did the, since it was the exotropia was not corrected further, we added the left eye superior rectus to 15 mm and we added the fixation sutures for the both superior and inferior rectus. The reason again was to bring the incompetent squint into competent squint. This is just a pre and post comparison.
Let the pictures remain for a second. Okay. Now you can see the difference that has happened. And here you have seen one more thing, that we have done supramaximal recessions, both for the eye which was involved 18 mm of LR in the ipsilateral eye, and even the normal eye we have done a 15 mm of LR recession. Now this will be known as a fixation duris surgery. You want more innervation to come in, so you want the lateral rectus normal one to be so much weak that it will excite more extra innervation so that the adduction in the affected eye will improve. So that's what you see here. The adduction has improved, the ptosis has got corrected because of the Farden on the superior rectus and the inferior rectus. And all the 9 cases, I mean, this is there. I mean, so this is a very interesting case. And by the way, this girl had come from Singapore and she was refused surgery because of the problem which was so complex. But if you handle that individually, you will see that you will be able to give a good alignment to the eye and restore the esteem of the person.